Yeah. Hey guys, we're going to work just a couple examples off of your homework for today, just to kind of get you started. So 1, 2, and 3 are all factored by grouping. We're going to do number 2. So you're going to group your first two terms together, your second two terms together. Out of the first two terms, what do x, y, and 3y both have in common? That's what we want to find out. So I notice they both have a y. So I'm going to divide the y out to the front. That's going to leave me with just an x because the y is in the front now. These y's crossed out. And then out of the 3y, the y is crossed out. That leaves me with a plus 3. Second partners, I have a negative 5 and a negative 15. Those can both divide by negative 5. So I put my negative 5 here in the front. And then I look for what's left over. Negative 5x divided by negative 5, only an x is left over. And then if I do negative 15 divided by negative 5, that's a plus 3. Then from there, if these two guys match, which they do, that's your first factor. And then you group the outside terms together, y minus 5 is going to be your second factor. Okay? Let's jump down to let's do 6. Okay, take a look at number 6. So I'm looking for numbers that actually you can just, let's do 4 and then we'll do 6. Okay, so number 4, the first thing you should notice is that this guy is out of order. Okay, that's a problem. They have to be in standard form. So when I put them in order, it should be ax squared plus bx plus c. So when I notice that that's out of order, I'm going to fix it. 21x squared is going to come first. Then my plus x, then my minus 2. Then from there, I'm going to set up my t-chart. Remember, at the top of the chart is a times c. My a is a 21. My b in the middle is a 1. My c is a negative 2. So if I do 21 times negative 2, that gives me a minus 42. Then I'm going to go through all of the factors that will multiply to 42. So I could use 1 times 42, 2 times 21. 3, I think, would work. 3 times 14, I think. And then 5 won't work. 6 times 7 will work. And then I think that's it. Okay, from there, remember, if the top of the chart is a negative number, that means that you're subtracting to get your b. So I want my numbers to subtract to give me a 1 in the middle. Well, then I'm going to use 7 minus 6. Now keep in mind, I can't do 6 minus 7 because that would give me a negative 1 in the middle, and I want a plus 1 here in the middle. So I'm going to have 21x squared minus 6x plus 7x minus 2. Group the first two, group the second two. Out of my front two numbers, those can both divide by 3x. So my 3x is going to come out here to the front. And then what's left over, 21 divided by 3 is a 7. X squared divided by x leaves an x behind. Negative 6 divided by 3 is a negative 2. Then when I look at my second two terms, these guys don't have anything in common, except for I can always divide both things by 1. So I'm going to put a 1 there in the front. 7x divided by 1 is still a 7x. Negative 2 divided by 1 is still a negative 2. And then from there, I notice that these guys match just like they're supposed to every single time. So that's my first factor, 7x minus 2, and my second factor is 3x plus 1. Notice your 3x plus 1 is coming from those guys. They go into the second term. So that would be your answer for number 4. Okay? Alright, last one off the front we're going to do is number 6. Okay, so I'm going to set up my chart right away because it's already in order. I have a 1x squared, a plus 3x, and a minus 10. A, B, C. AC at the top, I'm multiplying 1 times minus 10. That's minus 10. The only ways to multiply to get 10 are 1 times 10 or 2 times 5. But remember, since it's a negative at the top, that means I need to subtract What do I want it to be? Get it? Letter B is a 3. So 2 and 5 subtract to 3, but I'm going to do 5 minus 2. If I did 2 minus on the 5, that would give me negative 3. That is not what I want here in the middle. So that's how I know not to do that. This combination is not going to work. The minus has to be on the 2. Okay, from there I have x squared minus 2x plus 5x and then minus 10. Partners, partners, look for the GCF. These guys can both divide by x. X squared divided by x is an x left over. 2x divided by x is a 2 left over. Next two guys can both divide by 5. So 5 is going to go in the front. 5x divided by 5 is just an x left over, and then 10 divided by 5 is a minus 2. Then I look at my leftovers. They match each other. That means I can write my final factor. X minus 2 and x plus 5. Good. Okay, turn over to the back. We'll do maybe like 2 more. And then you'll have the rest of class to finish your homework 15. Okay, let's say that you are doing number off the back. Let's do 16 and 18, these two right here. Okay, so take a look at number 16. First thing that I notice is that I already have it in the correct order. That's good to go. So I'm going to set up my chart here with an AC. A, B, C. 5 times 6 gives me a plus 30. I need a negative 31 in the middle. Okay, I can do 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, 5 times 6, and then that's it. But my numbers need to add to give me negative 31. So remember, if they're adding and I need a negative 31, then I need to turn both of my numbers negative. So if I do 30 plus 1, that's 31. Then if I do negative 1 and negative 30, that's going to give me minus 31. And if I were to multiply these two guys, remember the negatives cross out, that'll keep my AC positive. So I have 5x squared minus 1x minus 30x and then plus 6. Then I look for my partners. First two, I notice the only thing I can divide by is an x, or if I didn't have an x in common, I could at least still divide by a 1. Okay, then back here, I'm going to have a 5x left over, because the 5 stays and the x squared loses one of the x's, but not both. My 1x here leaves a minus 1. Next term, I see those can both divide by 6, but remember that if the first term is negative, you have to divide the negative out as well. So my negative 6 comes out. Negative 30 divided by negative 6 is a positive 5x. And then 6 divided by negative 6 is minus 1. Then I look at these two guys right here. I see that they match. Then I know I did it correctly. So I have 5x minus 1 as my first factor. And then x minus 6 as my second factor. Remember, your second factor comes from what was removed. Okay? Last one, number 18. First thing that you should notice is that that guy is out of order. And that means that you have to fix it before you can factor. So I'm going to let my 7y squared come first. My minus 22y is going to come second. My plus 3 is going to come third, so that it's A, B, C. Okay, then at the top, A times C is 7 times 3. That's a positive 21. And I need them to add to be negative 22. Well, then 1 times 20 adds to 21. There are other partners. Hold on. It should be 1 times 21. And then the only other partner really is 3 times 7. But I know that I want these guys because I'm adding and I want to get a 22. So 1 and 21 add to give me 22. But just like last time, if this number's negative, they're going to have to both be negative so that those negatives, when I multiply, keep this 21 a positive. So I'll do -1 and -21. So 7y squared minus 1y minus 21y plus 3. And then you look for your common factors to see what you can take out. These guys both can lose a 7. That's going to leave me with just a y here. And actually, hold on, I can't divide by 7. I can only divide by a y, my bad. So put your y in the front. And that will be now just a 7y minus. And then a 1y divided by y leaves a -1. Second partners, 21 and 3, those can both divide by 3. But if the first one's negative, you have to pull the negative out as well. So it'll be a -3 here. And then -21 divided by -3, that leaves me with a positive 7y. Then 3 divided by -3 leaves me with a -1. Then you look at your two little parentheses, make sure that they match each other. I have a 7y minus 1 on both. And then I pull the outside stuff together, y minus 3, that's your second factor. Okay? Alright, so finish your homework. It is due to the sub today. Tomorrow it will be late. You should have plenty of time to finish. You can do it.